Okay, okay. I think we're good so far, but let me just double check. Boom, bam. Let's change some stuff up. Get to the editing process. Where is this? Edit. Making maps for my session. Let's change that to D. There we go. Technically, it's not really, but bam, done. Okay, now let's get some music going. I could just spam the music that's in my. I think that'd be fine, right? Let's do song music, and then we'll see. All right, that's good. Because now you can't hear. Oh, you heard that. Oh shit. Oh, you heard that. Oh shit. Oh, you heard that. Alright. Now we're done. Alright, cool. Alright, what's up guys? This is, not only is this a stream, but this is also a record video. I'm probably gonna snip it, depending on where we get to. And hopefully we can speed this process. But let's just zoom out. Let's try to get some stuff done. And yeah, we'll just get into it. So this is Roll20. For those who do not know, this is a website that a lot of people use to play D&D on. It's a place where you can put your maps, put your music, put your character sheets, put everything there, and you can pretty much make a map and have everybody come together. This is one of my maps. It's not the best, but that's why I'm here, making sure I'm fucking putting some time in, you know, getting all the stuff done. But the map overall, using small pixels and so on, it's decent. I can pretty much tell the players, and they can look at it and be like, "Well, we're in the desert, or we're in the, you know, we're in plains, or we're in the snow, we're in the dirt." Whatever the case is, they can then take their own idea from it. On top of that, we're going to be trying to make some maps using some other devices. We'll be using Dungeon Crush, and this will be the maps you'll be using for most of your campaigns or most of your encounters. But we'll get to this later. For now, we'll just... I guess I can just teach you very quickly, or I can just kind of... I want to break this down because I think it'd be a few sessions, or a few kind of parts, about how to make a map, and how to go about it, and just to make a very quick, battle map for everybody. A lot of people will usually they'll just go online, they'll look up a map. It's like, all right, D&D 20, D&D dungeon. Desert, vessel map, whatever the case is. It's, you know, whatever floats your boat, it's better. Sometimes you just want to put it together much quicker, or the map itself isn't there, or maybe you're already paying for a special item or whatever the fuck it is. But for those who can't afford it, or just they don't want to use that, they want to use their own. We're gonna grab a few things. Let's make a snow map, alright? So all we need to do is just look for snow. Not too hard. Just blanket it pretty much all over the floor. Anything will be fine pretty much. This is good enough if we want. That's just the background. Obviously, this is a bit too in-depth. It's too detailed, I would say. So I'll just kind of fucking throw this here. Throw this right there. Bam. Bam. Alright. It looks interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you, it looks fucking blind as fuck. There's really nothing to it, and we really can't see much of it. But now we start adding the small pieces. We can add like a rock here that people can hide behind, and we can use shadows and so on. Now I know some people really they don't have they're not what's it called? They're not privy to it. They don't have the premium things to it. But I don't think these are premium or luxurious. So just grab it very quickly. Sometimes it doesn't like lock or it doesn't look good. So sometimes you just want to click it, right click it, just go to drawing. That way it doesn't stick to the grid. So if I remove this real quick, you can see that I can put this in where while here it like almost gets stuck. And it gets like kind of frustrating. So a lot of times you'll have to deal with that kind of issue, and the easiest way I felt you can deal with it is you can always just have a kind of bone structure, or like you can build the skeleton of the map, which is the locked pieces, and after that you can have all the special drawings and just kind of be like, I remember these are all supposed to go on the map token, so these are technically not there. Now it's all gridded. Now we can see what's up. We go here. We want to make sure this is kind of flipped, so it's kind of like a little vertical, little area that people can use to hide behind. Maybe some of these have shadows and so on. So let's just go and grab, like, I don't know. Let's grab this guy. We'll put him on the field, or like the battleground. Eridim. And we can just go to the lights. We can use that. We can place a light. We can use dynamic lighting. It goes all dark, and after that we'll just use this line, polygon, rectangle. We'll use this line as a way to provide pretty much shadows so people can hide behind, and they can have like a fair shot of being like, well, I don't see that guy, or he doesn't see me, and so on. And we can go back into the normal area. Make sure we obviously give everybody vision. Fuck, you know what? Mistakenly, it's not supposed to be actually dark. It's supposed to be... Alright, we'll just throw it everywhere. Doesn't really matter. But this way we can kind of use it. Obviously we want tighter grooves, but this is good enough for any kind of small snow map. And then we also want to add, let's say this is obviously, you're in the middle of snow. We want to find trees, or we want to find tents of some sort. The better it is, the cooler it is. Maybe there's a small lake that's frozen over due to something. We just add some nice little chunks of area. We can make it bigger, smaller. It doesn't really matter. But of course, if we feel like it's kind of dull, not dull, sorry. If we feel like it's not to our liking, we can always try to masquerade it behind everything else. So let's do that. We'll just put this in the background. We'll put this, shit, where is it? To the back. That way we have this bad boy. And we can pretty much do one of these. Hopefully we can flip this vertically. We can put this again in the back. We can put this guy in the back. And we have almost like this area where it's like this thick snow. It's more thicker than the other snow, so we can almost feel like this is a hill. And maybe if you wanted to, you could just surround this area to look like that. Obviously, it's a bit tedious because you do have to kind of go back and forth. And this is only a small map, so it's not even like it's not even a whole thing. So you can always see like, oh look, you know, like area here. We can see that there's snow. So all of this is okay. But the moment you start walking, and if you want an even bigger distinction, what you can actually do is very easy. You can just grab like almost like a blue highlighter. If not that, you can instead do it in your own DM notes, which you can do right here. So if you wanted to kind of give yourself some information, you could just do one of these. So once a player kind of walks through that, that's technically it's difficult terrain, and we can use that to kind of continue forward, right? So maybe your player's tactical position they just have made, and there you go. Bing, bang, boom. Good place. It's in the center, so you can reuse these type of maps because it's a snow map. Everybody can use these type of maps, and going from there, you can try to add more things. And instead, what you could do is, if you like these type of things, you can then go like, oh, I like this map, I like the pieces, but I don't want to, you know, jumble it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. And the way you duplicate it is you just go here, you grab the top right, and then you do all of these. Bing, bang, boom, all good to go, and you're good here. So on one map, you think it'll be an encounter where there is tents and other things, and obviously this could be a way for you to be like, hey, guess what? You guys rolled good stealth checks, you rolled good perception, or because of a good survival check, you have found kind of a good enough land where you can sleep and you have a nice vantage point on anyone coming. And the reason why the battle map is set up like this is because you're able to see maybe down the roads or the kind of the beaten paths that animals have left that people still use today, because the snow, even though the snow fills it up, the animals keep walking that path because it's much more easier. But you can just do this. Maybe you want to add like a tent or something that you can tell like the players have been camping. These tents aren't the best. I wouldn't recommend using these ones, just because they're a bit thick. They're a bit fatty. So my thing is always, you just want to shorten it to your liking. I'd like to just have it where it's like not completely on all four squares. So like not have it be huge. I think it's the size is giant. Sorry, not giant. Huge, where it takes up 4 squares. I could very much treat it like a token, right? Structures aren't supposed to be as big as a token. They're supposed to be smaller or even further so much. So a house, gargantuan, right? Huge. But obviously you don't want to make it to take up the same spaces because there's measurements and all this whack-ass shit that you can put onto it. So a few tents. I do want to take it I want it to take up quite a bit of room, but not enough. And we can just put like one down here, because the allies, you know, your party may have been sleeping here, so we can put one here. So the guy at the top, maybe he's the scout or like the wizard or somebody, or druid, whoever has good passive perception. And if you ever like, well, I like the map, but the measurements are just not it. It's okay, you can just increase the measurements. If you want further and further, if you want your group to be kind of upwards, we'll just increase it by 50, and then we'll just go, okay, huge map now. I would probably say if you want like high measurements, please just use depending on what your levels are, use small maps for earlier games, just because unless you're going through a dungeon that requires big maps anyways. But in combat, a lot of people don't have range. You're gonna have a lot of short bow users, you're gonna have a lot of javelin throwers, you're gonna have a lot of firebolts. 90 feet is good enough. Most maps 25 by 25 is good enough to get you where you want. This particular area is still there. 95 feet, 20 squares. It's more than happy. You're more than happily able to just move. Most characters are not going to be running as fast as you think, even at level 5. I'd say at level 4 you can use small maps. At level 5, firebolts get involved, hastes and flies, so it kind of makes things difficult. And verticality, when it comes to fly, does become an issue Roll20 wise. That's why you have to start using other things. But we're just going to use Roll20 for now, and then we'll go to other places. Big map. Let's increase some of the sizes. Bing, bang, boom. It's not that hard. These type of things, we just want to just make it really just stretch out the maps. We don't really care too much, because at this point, the longer it stretches, the less kind of textures we do see, or like the ridges, or what do you want to call them, right? The less of them we see. And we can always put it in the back, because we still want to show that there is a difficult terrain, and the party see that as well. And sometimes some players, they'll get confused, but they'll still ask, like, is this about a ridge? And the easiest way to kind of tell people what is the different altitudes, or they're on different elevations, is if you just grab a pen, just go on the map, and just very simply just put 1, 2. Right, we want to just make sure that all of this is just, obviously we want to make it as small as we can, this just means that there's verticality to it. That means it's upwards. You usually see these in a lot of maps. Yeah. Usually you would circle it around and then go back and forth to make it look like a staircase. But this is good enough for now. And like I was saying, if we wanted to... Oh, shit, we fucking increased it by quite a bit. Roll20 is kind of a bitch right now. But like we said, we can kind of already go from here, and we can go forward from there. Obviously, if we want to like make it more extreme, make it more important, or we want to change up how it looks, we can go into that further. Maybe this is a forest, a jungle. Maybe you're hunting down yetis, or you're being chased by yetis, and you just cleared past this kind of this kind of large group bundle of trees or bushes that led you to this rock, and you've given the players an extra amount of space, or your players are the ones attacking from the bush. But let's just go and let's put this here. Fuck it, we'll just kind of throw this around because, yeah, we really just want to let everything be seen. Really don't care. This is just kind of a mistake that I did, which is fine. We can always just go back. It's nothing too much of an issue. We can always just redo it if we want. And if this is a pain in the ass, all you gotta do is literally just go here, go to dynamic lighting, just turn it off. But obviously, or we can do this and we can just do daylight mode. And that way everything is being seen. But the only difference is, of course, that you still have these kind of areas where this does block vision. Which is kind of cool, because it still makes it that then you are very much like, well, I still got to get past these large areas and trek through them. So let's go back to the tents. You know, there's always a few groups. If you want to make it more interesting, let's find a pit. Let's find like a little place where we can burn wood. The group can make a food, campfire. Let's find that, shall we? It doesn't need to be too dramatic. Doesn't mean to be too interesting. But we can always reuse these type of maps. And this thing doesn't look exactly what I want it to be. But the way we change it is we can just change its drawing to look like this. We want to put that in the map layer because we don't want any characters kind of fucking around with the tents or any of that. It'll be kind of weird. So we put that there. These are the same issues. So map layer, map layer. There we go. We flip this bad boy around. We throw the tents far away. Let's add another tent because most D&D parties, it's usually 4 or more. So 2, even if people are sharing, let's just say some people aren't kind of willing to share, whatever the case is. And you don't want to use, if you don't wish to, the same tent. You can instead change it up. Let's do a drawing. Let's change it up. Let's shorten it. And maybe we have 2 of these thin ones, and we only have we have 2 other tents. We can go from there, and we can now start to increase, or we can start to add more obstacles or interesting things happening in the environment. This is obviously not helping, but let's just throw it up here. Bing, bam, boom. So a lot of the trees on Roll20, they're not going to be beautiful, right? It's cut and dry. A lot of the stuff, it's kind of just, it is what it is. But we can always just, again, if you wanted to, we can make that extra effort to change things up. Just changing how it looks. Let's make this a drawing. It's a little too pixelated, but as we increase the size, that does too, and we can just flip it. These type of things, we can make kind of like a weird area where it's kind of like it's a tree that's fallen over, but it's good cover that people can use, and it's good cover that the enemies can use, and it's good cover that the allies can use, and vice versa if the allies are trying to get on this campment, while the people can set up traps around here and so on and so forth. But maybe we want to add more trees that actually are able to ground people, and the simplest way to do that is just map, right? We just put the tree out there. We want to try to make it so then people can see what's still happening, but definitely we want to be able to kind of put them together. So spread them out, but still have them be next to each other. So it kind of fits in that, like, oh, well, I'm behind the trees, so there's a bit of cover, or I can use that stealth, so people can rationalize, at least to some degree, that, oh, this is protective of me. And if you don't want these big ones, you can always use these small ones. The only issue I have with these is once you are there, it's very much these are more like they're acting like bushes, and you pretty much have to stack behind them. So anything you do one of these, and maybe you can use this as a way to kind of usher them in. So you can clearly see at the edges there's like this tree line, so people can escape and go further. Maybe it stretches to the corners, and then there's like almost another clearing, so almost another avenue for people to sneak through. So more and more areas where people can get through, and it's good for opponents as well as bad guys. And maybe you're the type of player, DM or whatever the case is, that you're wanting to actually add interesting kind of midnight or surprise or midnight raids where the players are able to see the map and they're able to plan accordingly. Maybe you're trying to make a campaign that is very much run away from the you're stuck in the middle of the winter, you just broke out of a caravan, and you know that one of the guards got away, took the horse with him, barely, like, very wounded, but he made it back to camp, because you hear the following morning the sounds of bells ringing and dogs barking at your back, and the sounds of hundreds of horse riders at the back of your tail, a few miles away. But that being said, your players can be like, well, look, there's a bunch of trees there. It might not be the best idea to be on this route, on these mountains, on this kind of like large snow hill, right? Maybe it's best if we just hide around the corner, and yeah, we'll kind of evade detection, but we won't have like eyes on any of this. And if they come through here, then it'll be an issue. Then it'll be good, but otherwise, it's like kind of safety minus kind of if we get the first view. But this is what you can do on Roll20. You can try to find better maps. Maybe if you want, you could have added saplings or just broken trees or something that better fits the area. A large tree, if you wanted to, you could flip it, change it up just a little bit. Maybe it's overlooking the actual mountains. It's a bigger tree, provides a little bit more cover, but this is one of those things where it does cause issue with the game, because if you look at it now, there's less clarity on the map. There's less things you can do, and you're not really sure what the tree is like supposed to do, right? Trees usually you can hide behind cover-wise, but if it's taking away from the actual map that you have made or the previous thing, just remove them, or just make them smaller. That's usually what I end up doing, and it works out kind of perfectly. And we can just add things there, and we see there's like almost a bundle of trees that make their way there, and people can still see what's happening on the mountain ridge. And if they try to get down into that tree line, it's protective, it's safe, but still you have to make it through that difficult terrain and go through there. Gives you the extra protection, extra stuff. Now that being said, we have everything there, but guess what? Hey, we took all of the stuff that we wanted and we moved it, so we can always just jump back to the older map, and we still have that 25 by 25. We still have all the things there. We really didn't add any of the tents because we don't want them. We don't want them there. We want to make this a very clean and cut kind of battle stuff. The group has entered from here. Again, we want to change up its settings, so we want to go into daylight mode. Bam. So we can see everything. But there still is the issue of like the kind of hill blocking things, and it's very easy to kind of change it. It's make it one way, where it's kind of like the closer you get, the more you see, but the further you are, becomes more of an issue. And that way, when we go to a character, he can see inside. But when he gets inside, bam. Well, it should be the opposite, really. So let's go back to that. Yeah, flip directions. There we go. It should be more like that. That way, the people above can see what's happening inside, but the people underneath you really can't see, because again, you have to climb up. There's like a plateau of area where you can stand. This is all safe for you, and you can stand there and just wait. And it's kind of cool because if your party wanted to, it's like, hey, let's not fight this. We're too wounded. We're out of spell slots. Blah blah blah. Fuck it. You just kind of can set the party there, and the party can see as you move your kind of NPCs, and you can move like these undead soldiers and these officers. And a very quick way to do that would just be to bundle them up. Maybe there's a giant ogre or whatever the case is. Let's just put 2 of these, 3 of these guys up, and we can just move them. And as we do move them, the group can see from their angle, anyways, right? They can see that these guys are moving, but from their angle, they're not really seeing much. They're not seeing anything happening. They just move forward, and they keep on going, and so on and so forth, right? Maybe they kind of completely leave. Maybe they get bigger. They enlarge themselves, and they're out, right? It's over. But overall, these are the things you can do on Roll20. And I think for that time being, we're just gonna... These are like... I wouldn't even say basics. I think these are like added effects you can do. Just making like a quick map. And then I'll kind of tackle what is kind of... how to actually make a quick map. Or not quick map. How to kind of go about how do you make a map and so on and so forth. This is just battle map. So I guess I'll just cancel that for now. We'll just...